House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer has been investigating the Biden family business dealings for more than 2 years. The probe launched the impeachment inquiry of Biden back in September of last year, and it is now entering its final phases. The House Oversight Committee wants Biden to testify, but he is refusing. Back in March, Comer sent this letter to Biden. Quote, "The committee has accounted for over $24 million that has flowed from foreign sources to you, your family, and their business associates. The committee has identified no legitimate services to merit such lucrative payments. You have repeatedly denied playing any role in your family's business activities, but the committee has amassed evidence, including bank records and witness testimony, that wholly contradicts your position on these matters. The committee has identified and successfully traced money from foreign transactions, including from China, straight to your bank accounts. Certain checks have been described as loan repayments. However, the person who provided you free bookkeeping during your time as vice president did not remember any evidence of a loan from your accounts." Joining me now is the man himself leading this investigation, Kentucky Congressman and Chairman of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer. Mr. Chairman, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Maria.
Where does this investigation stand?
Well, hopefully we're in the final stages. This morning, I issued a subpoena for targeted financial information from a certain financial institution related to Jim Biden, Sarah Biden, and Hunter Biden. This is a result of many of the documents that Devin Archer turned over. Remember, we subpoenaed and he turned over 3.7 million documents that never before been seen by any of the IRS investigators, the Securities and Exchange investigators, or any of the different groups that have been investigating the Bidens for years and years and years. And we've been able to connect some dots, we believe, that will finally answer pretty much every question we've had about the source of these shady transactions that went into the Biden family members and what role exactly Joe Biden played in that role in his family's shady business dealings. So
you've sent out the subpoena this morning to a major bank?
Yes, that is correct.
And what specifically do you want to know from this bank in terms of these documents that you're looking for to connect those dots?
We believe we found new accounts, and remember, the number of bank accounts that we've discovered over the past year and a half since I've had subpoena power, since the Republicans flipped the House, is unbelievable. I mean, I don't think you would find very many people that have billion-dollar net worth that have as many different bank accounts as this Biden family had. Many of these were shell companies, as you and I have discussed, Maria, companies that sole purpose was to launder the money that the Bidens were receiving from China, from Romania, from Russia, and never one time through the course of this entire investigation, even during the depositions with Hunter Biden and the transcribed interview with Jim Biden, were they able to answer exactly what the family did to receive this money. So we believe we found some more accounts that will answer some more questions, and hopefully we can prepare to close this investigation and present our findings to the American people.
How many bank accounts are associated with Joe Biden?
With Joe Biden, well, that's been a harder nut to crack there. We found some accounts, we found some different expenses and things like that coincided with some of the Hunter Biden LLCs and shell companies and things like that. But at the end of the day, the Biden family were the ones that were taking the initial wires and laundering them through. We found two specific checks that went from the Biden family influence peddling to Joe Biden personally, one for $200,000 and one for $40,000. So we've identified $250,000 in direct payments that Joe Biden received from his family's shady influence peddling schemes. As far as the son and the brother and the daughter-in-law and sister-in-law and all that, you're talking about dozens of accounts, dozens of LLCs, and no answer yet as to what they did to receive this money. I mean, it's just, I think, Maria, the biggest public corruption scandal in our lifetimes, and the fact that so many in the mainstream media don't want to write about this. And remember, Tony Bobulinski testified at our last hearing that what the money was from China was a bribe from the government of China to the Biden family, that there was no legitimate business there. So I think we found a lot of information. Hopefully this subpoena will be some of the last last bits of information that we have to be able to finalize this report and present it to the American people.
I have the Tony Bobolinsky transcript in front of me. It is really damning. But look, you've made a couple of comments this morning. You said money laundering. You said bribery. You said influence peddling. Obviously, Mr. Chairman, these are very, very serious charges. And the White House is denying it. How will you prove it?
Yeah. Well, we're going to present the American people with a report, hopefully very soon. And there are going to be a lot of footnotes in this report. There's a lot of hard evidence, bank statements, emails, sworn testimony. And remember, Maria, I have given both the president and the president's son an opportunity to come in front of Congress and come in front of the House Oversight Committee and explain themselves. They know exactly what we want. And with respect to Joe Biden, I understand he probably wouldn't want to go in front of the House Oversight Committee. We sent him a letter with specific questions to give him an opportunity to answer these questions. He has refused to do so. Merrick Garland has obstructed our investigation time and time again. That's why later today, we plan, along with the House Judiciary Committee, to hold Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. I mean, we're serious about trying to hold this administration and this family accountable for wrongdoing.
Yeah, I've got the letter in front of me, and you ask questions like, have you met, spoken to, or otherwise interacted with Jonathan Lai of Bohai Industrial Fund or Bohai Harvest Rosemont? Have you met or spoken to or otherwise interacted with Yi Jianming of CEFC? I assume you know the answers to these questions.
We know the answer because we've had interviews and depositions with many witnesses. So when you have witness testimony, when you have emails, when you have photographs that were found on the laptop, the evidence is overwhelming that Joe Biden was involved, and as 3 different Biden associates have testified, Joe Biden was a central figure in the Biden family influence peddling scheme. He knew full well what his family was doing, and some have even suggested that he was the closer, that he would go in when either Jim Biden or Hunter Biden had made their pitch as to why they needed to invest in the Biden brand, that Joe Biden would then appear, shake hands, have a conversation, have dinner, just so the people that were paying the Bidens would know Joe knew exactly what was going on. If you were paying the Biden family for the Biden brand, you were buying Joe Biden, and Joe Biden wanted to make sure all the shady people who sent the shady wire transfers through all the LLCs to the Biden family, they wanted to know that Joe Biden was front and center, and I think that the evidence will prove that.
Again, very, very serious charges about the commander-in-chief, particularly now when we are in 2 wars around the world, and we're wondering if, in fact, we should be seeing different policy with regard to communist China. Have you heard back from the White House on any of this? Have you heard back from this? This letter was dated March 28, 2024. Have you heard back in any answer for any of this?
No, we have not heard back from anything. In fact, the information that we've requested from the Department of Justice, from the National Archives, complete obstruction.
Mr. Chairman, I want to ask you about the other investigation that is underway. You're investigating the White House's so-called push to boost voter registration. Earlier this week, Attorney General Merrick Garland said that his election threats task force has accelerated its work. And we know that Merrick Garland said that he vows to fight voter ID. Specifically, what are you investigating with regard to voters and this upcoming election?
Well, one of the things we're doing is we're trying to follow the money, much like we've done in the Biden family investigation. We're trying to identify bank accounts that we can subpoena to see who's paying for many of these campus protests, voter registration drives, things to influence the election. We know that the White House, the Department of Justice, the FBI, they're doing everything they can to try to come up with some kind of Russian collusion. You know, Maria, they've been on that for a long time. But we know that there are millions and millions of Americans that have crossed our southern border illegally. We believe that one of the reasons for this is the Democrats hope to get many of these voters, in fact, in some of these swing states registered to vote in time to have an impact on the presidential race. So we're closely identifying the voter rolls in certain states. We're trying to follow the money to see who's paying for many of these political activities that would involve illegal voters, and we're going to do everything we can to ensure that we have a safe and fair election.